Welcome everyone, this is your host Abraham L. Jaguar, a professional game master. First of all, this channel is proudly sponsored by Rome, the historical role-playing game. Experience the glory and decadence of Rome like never before. You will find it in the description and in the pinned comment. This channel is also proudly partnered with the What the Funk shop. Please check out their store for all sorts of products. They have dice, miniatures, Game Master screens, home decorations, and many other things. You will find the link in the description and in the pinned comment as well. And make sure that you use my code for a special discount. Tonight, I wanted to share my thoughts on the Asilo one shot that we played on Tuesday. If you haven't seen it, please check out the playlist in the description of this video. This video is going to contain spoilers, so definitely check it out unless you don't care too much about spoiling the plotline. I was thinking back to many of my sessions throughout the years, and this is definitely the first time that I have played clinical and psychological horror session. You have many other tabletop RPGs with sanity systems, Call of Cthulhu, who knows how many retro clones and pseudo clones of Dungeons and Dragons. You have, to a certain extent, the gumshoe system when applied to Cthulhu, Trails of Cthulhu, etc. There is a way to track your sanity. But in all of those tabletop RPGs, they always have that supernatural element. And although Asilo can be played as Silent Hill, or even to a certain extent, Jacob's Ladder. I think it's closer to Jacob's Ladder because for those of you that have watched Jacob's Ladder, there are certain various interpretations, right, to what occurs. And Asilo is perfect for that sort of experience to represent that surreal, otherworldly situation. And you don't know if it's all in your mind or there is also some sort of supernatural element to things. So the session was quite challenging, but also quite enjoyable because of that. On the part of the players, they did an excellent job at navigating the ambiguous environments. The descriptions were to the point, but at the same time, nonsensical when compared to their everyday lives. It was almost like a fever journey, like a fever dream. And they all, not only did they play the roles of the characters, they were also trying to survive while taking actions as their player characters would. In the case of Danielle, we actually had the great fortune of the author playing Asilo, the designer of Asilo. Danielle was playing a character that was a cop with certain problems related to violence, not to the point that he was completely uncontrollable, but he committed himself to Asilo and tried to do his best. He was always trying to keep control on his anger, on his issues, and he was making his way through Asilo, not entirely sure, because he wanted to get into Asilo, treat his issues, his problems, the asylum, of course, treat his problems in the asylum, and then walk away. But then he got pushed into this situation where escape seemed almost impossible. In the case of Josh, he was playing as this patient that had delusions of perhaps being the chosen one or the son of a demon within Asilo, within the asylum. And at the same time, his relationship with his wife suffered for it to the point that he was guilty of what happened to his wife. And in the case of Derek, he was role playing as this very nasty guy, corporate climber, megalomaniac, crush everyone in sight. And he did an excellent job at being a jerk, while at the same time making his way through the scenario. Because some people, they think that playing an evil character or perhaps chaotic neutral even character, it's like a license to be a jerk to everyone. You see them all the time. You see them everywhere. These players, they create these nasty characters just to have an excuse to insult the other members of the party. It's a psychological issue. But in the case of Derek, he gave a perfect example of being a jerk and playing a game because he was playing a role and playing a game. So he was always in character, taking action, trying to win the game, and at the same time, sticking to the role. Perfect, perfect. I think the most challenging aspect for me was taking all of those complex backstories and meshing them with the events, the occurrences, the happenings of the asylum, while at the same time keeping that separation from the character's personal history. The asylum is an entity on its own, but at the same time, it fits upon, in a way, on the lives, tragedies, issues of the patients. So, a very complex situation, but we had a lot of fun and it was a complete success. So, what can I say? A very fulfilling session, very satisfying. And we only scratched a bit, even though the system is quite simple. There were many aspects that perhaps could have been approached in various ways if we were to handle the session a bit more mundane, spending more time interacting with the patients in Asilo. In my case, I wanted to go completely into the psychological horror aspect, not exploring too much the mundane situations, but rather the surreal reality that you don't know if it's actually happening outside of you, if it's all in your mind, as I have said, or maybe it was a combination of both. That's why in the ending, I left some elements to accentuate or punctuate, or how would you say, put emphasis on the reality that perhaps there were some otherworldly, some mysterious spiritual forces at work in the asylum. But then again, just like in many similar media, there was also the possibility that everything was just mundane. The characters were lost in the labyrinth of their own minds, and everything was completely separated from any spiritual or supernatural element. So, thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it informative and entertaining. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, consider joining as a member using the super thanks button. Like, subscribe, take a look at the information in the description and in the pinned comment. This has been your host, Abraham L. Jaguar, a professional game master. And remember, roleplay solves everything. Once again, thank you and see you later.